not write that down?
You
I
did
can
not write
look
that
at
down.
it. It's a Saturday.
21st. What's a Saturday?
Okay, folks, it's 6:30. I didn't realize it was getting that time, so we'll get started. I'll call to order the
Hello, Dan.
work session for the City of Tenino on Tuesday, June 10th, 2025. We have two things on here, but I added a couple. So in addition to the court services contract, review of draft changes to Tenino's gambling tax, I also have discussion the paving project update cost estimate and the property surplus.
Okay.
Anything else anybody wants to add to the work session agenda right now? I'd really like to talk about the paving project and the court thing, because these were kind of last minute things that they would like to get done so we can keep moving forward with these, and they came to me kind of late today, so I'll just review them. The first one is this updated cost estimate that I put on all your desks. So as we talked about last time, our original bid estimate for the work out on the old 99 paving project was like $500,000. Well, it came in at $386,000. And so we are going to extend that, of course, but we first have to agree, update the cost estimate for the original bid. So we can't, it's kind of hard to explain. It's kind of convoluted. So we put a bid out, it came in at $386,000. So we have to modify the contract to recognize the original bid was $389,000. Once we get that accepted, we revise the bid to do the additional work.
Okay.
Does that make sense to everybody? So we have to accept the original contract for $389,000,
makes sense.
and then we'll go forward and revise that once we get the original contract. So that's what this does. As you can see, their calculated surplus amount is $182,312. So that's what we'll put to, when we do the bid update, we'll have about $182,000 to extend more paving. I do want to point out on page 2, which confused me when I read it, if you look under funding partner participation where it says Tenino, where it says previous commitment, it shows the $506,000. That was the original estimate. Our match was shown at $26,636. So then under current participation, it shows $323,792, and Tenino's match $33,858, which didn't make sense to me, but I'll try it again. It's kind of convoluted, but I'll try to explain this. So in the grant, the engineering costs are limited to 30% of the grant. So when we drop the grant down to $323,000, the engineering went above 30%.
Oh, so we gotta pay that extra.
Yeah, what was explained to me, when we add that one next to $183,000 on there, we'll get that back and go back to $26,000. But right now, it makes it look like we have to pay a little more because we went above the 30% maximum allowed for matching. So there won't be any change really, but on this
They
first.
just can't make things easy,
No.
can they?
But on this first initial document, it looks like we're going to be paying a little more, but in the end, when we get everything done, we won't be paying any more.
Okay.
So that is kind of what this is about, and so I'm going to ask to add this to the agenda tonight
Okay.
to get this out, because I think they're about ready to start, and they're antsy to get this. They need this before they can start anything, so
Okay, so we can amend the agenda to include both of these.
yes.
Okay.
So this is the first one. Is there any questions about this one? I'll give you a minute if you want to look through anything else, but this one's pretty straightforward.
This commitment for
Excuse me.
$26,000, that's already accounted for in our current year's
Yeah,
budget?
we knew this was going to be a match on this one, and that's from the street fund. It's not from our general fund, it's from our street fund.
Okay.
Nancy, you can speak in. If I misspeak on anything, please, please shout out. The next one is the court contract. We've been working for quite some time to try to get the contract with Thurston County to do our court services. Everybody else in the county besides us and Yelm right now is Olympia just started with the county to do their court services. So we've been working for quite some time, talking to them, trying to get everything in place. They have us an agreement. I can go over more of the details, but really the bottom line is for services for next year for court, it would be about $25,000. And after looking at our cost, and Ronna came, in case you have any questions, she can help you. I think that's a pretty reasonable cost, and this is based on the number of cases that we had in 2024. So if we go way high or go down, that may be adjusted, but we're just trying to make estimates based on what we had last year.
Yeah.
So I think that's a pretty great deal. Now, I want to make sure you all know that we are still providing the prosecutor on our own. We're paying a prosecutor to represent us, so that's not included in this $25,000, but we are already paying for that, so it's
How
no.
much do we pay them?
Actually, the person we're looking at for prosecutor was $50 or so, a little bit less than what we're paying our current
Oh,
prosecutor.
well, that's good.
And I haven't heard a number for the public defender yet to compare to what we're doing now, but I'm thinking it's going to be comparable to what we're doing now. So we're still paying for the prosecutor, we're paying for the public defender, which we're already paying for, so it's really no change on that. And what we haven't been doing is we haven't had jury trials for some time, and that's kind of part of what drove this, because for us to do jury trials has been difficult, I think, or we just don't have a candidate pool a lot of times big enough to get a good jury.
Yeah.
So that's part of what drove this. So if there's a jury trial, there is a fee schedule for jury trials in here. So if that comes up, we will have to pay those fees for jury trials. And there's a fee schedule in here for that.
So exactly what are we paying the county for? If we're paying a prosecutor, we're paying for the defense.
We're paying for
We're-
the actual, the
what-
judge and all the other court services that they have to do to provide record keeping.
What is
Ronna,
this
maybe you
saving
could tell
us
me a little
over
bit
the-
what the,
What is this actually saving us then?
A whole lot
Because
of
this is-
money for the judge, because when this judge retires, you're not gonna get a judge for $750 a month, available 24/7. You're not gonna do it. I mean, you're gonna get a judge to charge us probably $15,000 to $2,000.
See, now this is the important information that needs to be put out there. Well, we're not on tape yet, but it's,
Well, we should be.
yeah.
You got your microphone on.
Yeah.
You're on tape.
the other part of it is the jury trials, which has been a big issue because,
Yes.
well, basically if any jury trial comes up, they get dismissed because we can't provide juries. And so this is providing a service that we have not been able to do for some time. So, Ronna, sorry to interrupt you, but did you have anything else to add about what the actual court?
You're not gonna be paying for a clerk here.
Yeah.
Yay!
The record keeping, all the record keeping
Right,
part of it,
right.
it's difficult.
And it's the computers breakdown, like the printer that the state supplied, the computer and the receipt printer, they're not fixing them anymore, so that's gonna be a cost to the city. We only use a tablet because that's all we had to use, and once that thing dies, we have to purchase it.
So are we actually saving a little bit of money, or is this just a
We
wash?
are saving
I
money.
think we will save. I mean,
Okay.
We'll be saving quite a bit.
Yeah.
Okay.
And if we're not replacing Ronna, we're also.
Right,
saving
exactly.
Because,
A big part of what
Benefits.
she does is
But
court
it-
stuff, you know.
You know, benefits and, you know,
Okay.
salary, but benefits.
I just want it out there
Not
what
that
we,
we're trying to
what we're
get rid of
doing.
Ronna, that's not what we're trying to do, we're just,
No, she's trying to get
I
rid
wish
of
you would.
us.
She wants to retire, so we
you're
gotta get
sitting
this
in front of that window and you're blurry. You're all blurry.
So these,
I mean, I think there's a reason why everybody in the county is going to, trying to do
Sure, it's
an
cheaper. It's
integrated
cheaper.
court. I think it's just much more effective and, yeah. Especially since they're doing everybody else in the county basically now. Yeah.
And they have been trying for a very long time to take the small jurisdictions and put them all with district court. They don't want any small,
Well, it makes sense.
yeah, it does.
And I'll also make a note, one of the things in here, what I had a question about was when they collect fines or fees, I thought it'd just stay with them. Any judgments they get the money comes back to the city, just like we had our own court. We're just paying them the fee that we agree to, but anything they collect comes back to the city, and it's in the contract. So whatever that ends up being, I don't think it's a ton of money that we get, but it's,
Maybe we're about 5 to 10%.
yeah, it's a small amount, but it's not just staying with them, it's coming back to us to
Getting
help,
this, Dan?
help pay for this, so.
Pardon?
Asking Dan if he's getting this.
The state takes it.
So, in this, the billing rates chart here, the $23,872, that's what we actually paid last year, or that's an estimate of what we?
That's their estimate, and the 24,000 would be after, in 2025. I think this was the estimate from 2024, what it would have cost in 2024 if we had used them. And
Okay.
then this is their estimate, what it will be for 2025.
So how much do we actually spend in 2024?
Well,
How does
you'd
that
have to
compare?
you'd have to figure Rhonda's wages, Rhonda's
Just for the
benefits.
items that are listed here, the infractions, parking, DUI, et cetera.
We added them all up. When we were looking originally, it was over $100,000, I believe. It was an upwards of $110,000, $15,000 when we went through our budget and pulled out all the components of, the judge and all those pieces.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we'll also still have jail costs. We're still going to maintain our own jails, just like we have, but they assured us that those people would be arraigned quickly. So Maria brought up the question about arraignments because you would have to hold them in jail until they are arraigned. And so Maria brought up the question, hey, is it going to take them 3 or 4 days to arraign somebody? So I specifically asked them that question. They said, no, they'll be arraigned within 1 day. They said it'll be as quick or quicker than what you have now. So we shouldn't have any more jail costs because we're waiting for the county to arraign these people. So that was another thing that I wanted to make sure we're not gonna end up with more. So, yeah, I think it's gonna be a savings. I mean, it's hard to,
Well, do I understand, this first column here, the 23,800 cost us last year 100,000?
this
Is that what you just said?
This is just showing the court costs. This is not any of the prosecutor costs.
I understand that. I'm trying to get a comparison of what they're estimating versus what our actual costs, just for these items that are on the chart.
What it's not including is what we had to pay her through
I
insurance
understand
and all
that.
that
I
stuff.
I don't have the
understand that.
budget
I'm
with
trying
me
to
to look.
compare their estimate about our actual cost. Did it cost us the same 23,000, or did it cost us 20 or 30?
For this court part of it?
Just these things that are listed on the chart here. Or do we not know that? We didn't compare that.
So these are just all the cases, so it'd be whatever the list on the chart just shows the different types of cases that we had, like traffic, non-traffic, jury trial request, parking violations. It just listed out how many we got and their estimated costs for each of those cases to be held there.
County's
Yeah,
estimated cost?
yeah.
And I'm trying to compare the county's estimate of these costs for 2024 versus our actual costs.
Yeah, because you just said we added it up and we spent about 100,000, so.
Just for these items,
That's 75 different.
just for these items, not including the court, not including the judge, not including anything else.
Well, this is what this is. This is the court, the judge, all the court services. That's what this $23,000 is.
Okay, very good. So we're saving 75% is what we're saying, plus
I
Rhonda's time, plus,
Well, I think when we talked about the 100,000, to be honest, it included like the jail cost. I mean, we looked at everything. I don't think that was just for the judge and the court, and like Rhonda's wages. But I would think almost your wages would be close to $23,000 a year, for court services.
When you figure
By the
out
time you do wages and
everything,
salaries and
everything.
benefits and all those kind of
Exactly.
things. So I don't know if it's gonna be a 75% savings, but
It will be a savings.
it'll be a savings. I can't tell you the exact dollars, but it's,
But the city does spend more than 23 in a year.
Oh, my God.
yeah. And like I said, this is also forward-looking because our judge wants to retire. We're losing our prosecutors right now, so there's gonna be additional cost to us to keep it too, so.
Yeah.
If we have to hire another judge and those kind of things, so we're not just looking today to, you know, we're looking forward also about how we control, yeah.
Well, I think it's good.
Thank you.
Is there any other questions on that? I'm gonna ask for this to be put on there. I think we already got it.
It's already on there.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, no.
It's not on our
It's
agenda
not
for
on
the
there.
regular meeting.
It's just a discussion today.
Yeah.
You can
No,
do-
it's gonna be on the agenda, we're gonna amend the agenda.
Yeah,
We're
but
going
I'm
to
saying that's
amend
not
it.
on here now.
No.
Jeff, do you want to talk about you came in to talk to Jeff today, and he also talked to Nancy. Do you want to discuss the changes to the draft changes to the Tenino's gambling tax?
Sure, I'd love to. One more question, though. This term for the court services, that's just for a single year, correct?
For a year, yep.
Okay.
And there's like most contracts, there's an out if either one of us want to either change anything. There's a process outlined in there and how that happens. And if either party wants to not do services, there's outs to get out of it. If I don't think we will, but just like most contracts, I think it's kind of standard language.
All right, the Tenino gambling tax ordinance. This is something that came up through AWC. I didn't even know we had a gambling tax. I looked into it. And my intent in looking at this is to try and find a source of revenue to help pay for an additional police officer for the city. As you know, we've got a tight budget. We don't have the money to hire the fourth officer that we have wanted. With the passage of the state bill where they fund 75% of a new officer, and the cost of an officer is about $100,000 loaded with all the benefits and everything, so that's a nice round number to figure this. If they fund 75%, then we need to come up with $25,000, which is not a huge amount, even though we're tight. So, in looking at the tax code or the tax ordinance, at first look, it just looked like we pretty much had maxed out with the nonprofit tax rates for lotto, for bingo, for raffles, and for pull tabs. And the only place we had any movement was with the pull tabs for establishments selling intoxicants or stimulants, basically bars, lounges, alcohol vendors. We only have one business in town which has both a liquor license and a gambling license, a commercial establishment, and that is the tavern down here on Sussex. Currently, and originally it looked like we were billing them 6.5% based on net proceeds, which is the gross amount of ticket sales, pull tab sales, minus prizes pulled out, and that total tax at 6.5%. So it looked like we could go up to 10% and get maybe $3,000 more a quarter. These taxes are paid quarterly by the licensees. With the nonprofits, that's the only way you can tax, is based on the net profits, gross minus prices and whatnot. With the commercial establishment, there's a second option provided by the RCW code, and that is to, instead of the maximum 10% on net, you can do 5% on gross. And just running the numbers there, it was looked to be that if we changed our code from 5.5% net on alcohol establishment, commercial establishment, to 5% on the gross, that we would gain 18 to 28% depending on the ticket sales, and the sales go up and down, which is pretty darn close to what the target number is to be able to afford another police officer with the help of that state grant. Since then, it's got a little more complex. The mayor, doing his due diligence and looking at the code, we found that looking up different code bases, one shows 6.5%, one show 10%. Our forms that we send out to licensees to collect the taxes have different amounts on them, and the mayor can speak more fully on all those permutations. But it's clear that rather than just changing the amount on a single license category, we really need to overhaul the Tenino gambling tax ordinance altogether. Another item is that we've been charging 6.5% on lotteries, raffles, and whatnot. And under state law, reading the code, there is a maximum of 5% that we can charge. So we've been overcharging on that tax. Whole thing's a can of worms, unfortunately. What?
Who has raffles in,
They're minimal.
no.
They're minimal, but we do have, yeah.
Raffles, Elks Club, not Elks, Eagles, the Tenino Community Center, and I think Raise for Ronan have all
They've had
had
a couple.
raffles.
Those are all nonprofits.
And they're all nonprofits, that's
So I don't
correct.
think it's a huge, it's very little, if any.
Right, with the nonprofits, you know, they're pretty much donating the amount, so, you know, one, we're already taxing maximally, and two, there's not a whole lot of revenue there in any case, because they're nonprofits. So, looking at raising the commercial tax, it would involve, at this time, Landmark, because they're the only licensee, but it would, if the other alcohol vendors, 7076 for instance, or if the food market, which sells alcohol, decided to sell pull tabs too, they would also be included in this revenue. So it's just not targeting one business, it's just setting our tax
But
code.
right now, it is targeting just one business.
In effect, because we only have one. But if we had a second one, they'd be subject to the same tax. Point being to maximize revenue on gambling to support a police, an additional police officer. And speaking with business owners, I know they're very supportive of having a robust local police department, and I'm sure bars are perhaps even more anxious or supportive of having a police presence due to the nature of selling intoxicating beverages. So at this point, I think it's more work to figure out what exactly the law is and write an ordinance that reflects, first of all, what it should be in terms of that the lottery rate, but also the discussion we'll need to have as a council as to whether or not to increase the commercial tax. Currently, you know, some, like I say, the numbers are various depending on various sources. So we have a chance to look at the entire thing and make a decision.
What is the income on, from the Landmark
It's
per year?
the gross is about $750,000.
I'm talking about
What we get,
What we get, not what they have.
What is, I think it's like something like $12,000, $15,000, something like that,
That we get now.
that we get now. So this would increase that.
And is
by-
there any problem with them paying that?
Yes. When they changed ownership a year or two back, they stopped making remittances, and I think the city's been diligent in once discovering that and bring that.
Well, I'm sure that.
we
yeah,
got them to
I
pay
know,
the last
yeah.
quarter, but we still have to go back and collect you go back 3 years, so we're working on getting the back, but
Good.
I think they're on board now with understanding they have to pay.
Well, I'm sure he's the owner here
Yeah.
and he's an owner in Olympia.
He owns a couple,
knows what he
yeah.
has to pay, so.
And it's not just the Landmark. There are holes in the reporting investigation we need to do to understand exactly what that state gambling commission spreadsheet is telling us about.
You know, what is interesting is they're allowing now to pay on the net. When we ran the gambling in Aberdeen, my husband and I, we had a card room, we had pull tabs, punch boards. We paid on the gross. That's what we
Yeah.
paid. We paid the tax on the gross.
So that, I think really what's gonna be the issue here, I think all the nonprofits and all the pull tabs are pretty straightforward. It's all on the
Yeah,
net, and it's
yeah,
all a
yeah.
fixed percentage up to, we can do, but 5% is what it is, and I think that's what we had said. Really, the one that's gonna come before us, it's gonna be a question is the tavern, and do we wanna base it on the gross, or do we wanna base it on the net, just like all the other ones, and then what percentage do we wanna, you know?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I think it's gonna really come down to that one. I think it's really
everybody
down to
knows
that.
how I feel about it.
Yeah.
We need business in this town. We don't need to make it harder on them, so
Anyway, we need to
and-
do,
it's a
go ahead.
slippery slope.
If I may, if I may, you mentioned the card rooms. Currently in Tenino, we have two licensees for card rooms, and that's the Eagles Club and the VFW. And they're not really card rooms as you think of it. We're commercial gambling establishments where you've got a professional dealer and you bring as much money as you want. And
Are they charging?
it's more like a
Entry fee.
tournament. Everybody puts in that set amount. I think
Well, I'm
20
sure the gambling commission has rules on what can be collected on those tournaments.
Certainly, but with nonprofits, again, they're charged on the net, and how these two clubs work it is everybody puts in that $25, and that's the set amount for the night, and it's a elimination until there's one person takes it all. So all the money that goes into that, it goes right back out to the player. The clubs get no revenue whatsoever, and they use it as a entertainment to bring in people for drinks.
They make the money off the accessory.
But going down the road, it might be useful for us to discuss the desirability of having commercial card rooms. Because if one wants to set up shop in town, we have no policy whatsoever to decide whether we want them or not. And there are some cities in Tenino, in the state of Washington, that actually exclude gambling card rooms like that.
So just give it some thought. I think we'll come back at our next meeting and get it cleared up, but just give a little thought what direction you think would be the right way to go, basically on that one issue. I know, Linda, what you made it clear, but
I know.
it's a tough one, yeah. So anyway, we'll try to bring that back. I'm gonna be gone next meeting, but we can see if we want to push it next meeting or put it off until when I get back. But it shouldn't be too controversial, I wouldn't think. It's just a matter of what people want to do with the
Well, I think if it's written out to where we can discuss it
and
and
just
know
vote on it.
exactly
Yeah.
what we're gonna be getting for it.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, Ronna. God, I'll take this with me when I lean back, okay?
There you go. Okay, anything else on the gambling tax? I talked to you and gave you a handout on last meeting about this properties, the surplus properties. And I don't know if you guys got a chance to take a look at that. Is there any concerns about anything? Because I'm gonna have them start drafting a resolution or ordinance, whatever we need to do for the surplus properties. Does anybody have any comments on any of those properties that I gave you?
My only comment is what I've always said.
I know.
I hate to see us get rid of any assets, anything that the city owns, like property. I just think it's not a very good thing to do, so.
And I agree with Linda on that. You're not going to have property again.
Yeah.
A lot of those tiny parcels are back where the city hall used to be back in the day on the other side of the railroad. I think that's why we have all those small parcels together. When we were talking about selling property, it was last year when the finances were still crazy bad. We didn't know how things were going to shake out. At this point, with the new clerk treasurer and the mayor's diligence, we were barely squeaking by. So I don't know that it's, if we can,
That is anything that we need to worry about right now.
right, if there's any way we can hold on to them, it's something in our back pocket in case something comes up, is my opinion. But yes, let's get something drafted, so if it comes
I'm
time.
just gonna, I'm gonna draft it, and you
Yeah,
guys
okay.
can have discussion, and, yeah,
Okay.
I have a different opinion, than the two of you, but, that's your prerogative to do what you want. So we'll draft it up, and, we'll bring it in, and we can have discussion and make a decision. I just didn't know if there's any if there was some specific property that somebody said, oh, I just didn't want to include that, so I'm just gonna include them all, all that I gave you.
Is it possible to separate them?
Oh, yeah.
And just sell part of them?
We could.
And maintain, and keep part of them?
Well, I don't think we're gonna be able to sell the ones down on Green Street.
There's a couple that are kind of funky, but I don't know if we'll sell or not, but,
Well, the right of way strip,
Yeah.
that might be something homeowners might be willing to.
that's what I thought. Most
Yeah.
likely it'd be somebody who
Because that's
owned
all that
adjacent
is
property.
an easement. That's all that is that down here. Did you go
Yeah.
and look at it?
Yeah.
It's
In
just a
fact,
narrow-
I'm sure that guy, one fence is right on it. I think it's already his.
So anyway, unless I hear somebody say tonight that they don't want to include one, I'm just going to put them all in there. And we could also amend it if somebody says, there's a property on there, they say, hey, can we remove this one? We can
Yeah.
just remove it from before you vote on it. So I will try to get that for this next meeting or the one after.
Did we have the old Public Works building? Did we have that on the
No,
sale
because that one
list?
is, we kind of have a deal with
It's
the
okay. We've
food
got a
bank.
deal.
That was-
So I didn't
yeah.
include that in the
Okay.
two.
Yeah, I didn't think so, but I wanted to make sure that.
Maybe we can get the reports out of the way.
Yeah, if we don't have anything else for the work session, we'll do reports.
Yeah. When is Cheryl gonna be here?
She's gonna pay for the regular meeting. Okay, let's do reports. Chamber, George, you wanna do your, since you're here?
That's my medicine one, sorry. Good evening, Council. George Sharp, representing the Chamber, representing the EDC, and representing South Thurston Economic Development Initiative. First off, I want to congratulate Jessica on hosting the Washington State Arts Commission Creative District convening last week, Thursday, Friday, and we had 30 people stay over Saturday morning. They went to farmers market, they went out to the quarry to see Keith and talk about what's going on here. Nothing but phenomenal results from this organization and the comments that we've received. So I want to thank the Mayor Watterson and Jeff also for participating and giving a tour of the community. And Jeff, I saw him on a broom and some other things, so helping out there.
Joyce said that everybody, all the people that came into the shop that were from that just thought it was wonderful.
Yeah, so it was amazing. When Jessica proposed this to me in January, I'm going, that seems like, you know, because other creative districts have like lots of volunteers and like half a mile or more of stuff to go see and do, but really we figured it out, or Jessica figured it out. We had lots to go see and do. We held them at the Ag Park on Thursday night, a reception. It was beautiful. The Tenino High School band, jazz band got to perform, and so it was just a wonderful experience for all of them. And a lot of them said they want to come back, they want to bring their family back. Some people want to come back when the pool's open, so big success for that. And I know also Joyce probably had one of her biggest weekends,
Yeah.
other than a creative district weekend, because of it. So I haven't talked to the rest of the merchants yet, but all our merchants downtown put welcome Washington State Arts Creative Districts to Tenino Creative District in their windows, so it was a great event for that. So we supported it from the Chamber, supported being part of the committee, and then also Steady supported it from Steady standpoint as well. So.
Can I interrupt you and just add? 'Cause
Yes.
I was gonna talk about this, but since we're
Sorry.
talking about it, so I did a tour with a group of about 5 people. These people were from all over Washington, so it wasn't just local people, it was the whole state. And the tour we did, people were saying, "Oh my God, this is amazing! I'm going to go back and tell like the storyboards down there, something as simple as that." They were like, "I never thought of something like that. I'm going to take this back to our community." And just the response to like our museum, the pool, like you said, they were impressed.
And our
by
piece
them.
of art down at the end.
Yeah, and
And what was cool to tell them about our banner project, that came from them as a grant.
Yeah.
The lights down by that piece of art, the 2 murals that we have in town, the gazebo next to the library, all those were Arts Commission related grants that we'd received over the years. So it was a big win for us.
A big shout out to Jessica, because that was a lot of work
Yeah.
to get. Yeah.
It did point out, though, that our lack of lodging, so people stayed at Fairfield Inn, at the Prairie Hotel. I'm not sure if any stayed at Offutt Lake Resort, but there's an opportunity for us at some point to do some kind of feasibility study if we could have lodging here and what that would take.
It would be great.
I think that'll be something next
That we
within,
really do
maybe
need it.
next year we can
We
work on
really
that.
need
So
it.
from the EDC to work on, lodging feasibility studies, hey, what could this place hold and that, so.
If I may, George, for my own part, I have to express how much I thoroughly enjoyed the opportunity to host guests to our city.
Yeah.
I myself learned more about the city, its art, and its history than I knew before from Jessica's, our little trial tour. And just the pride of showing, the hidden jewels, the pool, the size of the park, all the artwork and the stonework, which is everywhere in the city if you start actually looking for. And
It's everything that we're used to seeing every day.
Yeah, you take for granted.
Yeah, no, it's just there, it's been there.
yeah, it was an amazing experience, and I have to thank Jessica for inviting me
Yeah,
along.
hats off to Jessica for pulling that off, so
Yeah.
that was
Yeah.
amazing, so. The Chamber is supporting the Tenino Arts Stone City Art Festival this weekend. We actually sent out the press release and got press all over Western Washington for that. And then I'll be there all day supporting it, both as the Chamber and as Steady this Saturday. The next Chamber Lunch Forum will be next Wednesday, June 18th, and our speaker will be Mayor Watterson, giving a City of Tenino quarterly update. We've also asked him just to tell us a little bit about the survey results the Planning Commission received on the comprehensive plan, so the community is aware of what's being talked and what the next process is going with the Planning Commission. the EDC, the furniture arrived today for our offices at the Ag Park.
Oh, great.
Next week, we should be getting Tenino telephone internet service, so I'll be moving in either next week or the week after. I'm getting a new computer from work to be able to move into the Ag Park, but super excited for that when I got into my office today. I saw real desk and chairs and things, so we're going. By the way, we're going to have a mini information center there that'll be right in front of the EDC, so we'll be promoting all of South County. Any community has a rat card, any attraction that has a rat card. A rat card is, one pager like
Right.
that size and has information. We'll have that there. We'll also have Experience Olympian Beyond's visitor guide and any publications that they have as well. So super excited for that. We will be doing some ribbon cuttings coming up. We'll do one for the Calvin Provisions. I'm back to the chamber, but the chamber will do a ribbon cut for Calvin Provisions, then they'll do a ribbon cutting for the EDC once we're there, and then we'll do a ribbon cutting for Dragon Wheel and the Gondola Company too. So we'll have 3 more opportunities to market what's happening out at the Ag Park.
Now-
And once the Babe's hot sauce is up and got everything run, we'll be doing a ribbon
Okay,
cutting
so
for
they're
them.
gonna be a separate store.
Separate store, yes. They're on the
Okay.
back side
Okay.
of Calvin's. But
I wasn't
Calvin's
sure.
Provisions will be selling their product.
When are they gonna open, do you know?
They're still in the process of getting everything, but the
I
biggest,
stopped in there,
say that
Thursday
again?
night. I stopped
Yeah.
in.
Their biggest issue is product, getting the peppers where people grow peppers for them and getting them so then they can create their sauce again,
yeah.
so that's the EDC, and then Steady will be May 20th, next Friday, Bukota, 8 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. So like everybody invited to come to Steady next week too,
I think
so.
it's June 20th, though.
What's that?
You said May.
That's because I wrote May. It's June. I did that to the mayor last meeting too. I wrote the wrong, sorry, Mayor. I wrote the wrong
You're
date.
ahead of at that time, so you're making up by going back a month.
Yeah, so it's kind of like my dyslexia there showing up. So, but anyway, I'm super excited about being here more down here, so I can support the community, both as the chamber and as Steady. So, thanks.
Thanks, George. Any questions?
Thank you, George.
Thank you, George.
The next two, nobody here yet. I'll come back if they show up or Timberland shows up. Civil Service Commission, I don't believe they've had anything. We are still working on another candidate for police officer, but we're not to the point where anything firm is happening, but we're working on that. I will say, today they were working, there's 2 grants out right now. There's the state grant that we've been talking about forever, but there's also, we talked about this today in the finance, there's also a federal grant that's almost the same mirror to that. It's 75% of his officer and 25 we pay. And from what I'm hearing, it's less onerous than the state grant.
Whichever one works. we
So
don't
they're
care.
working, they'll probably work on both of them, but they're working right now trying to get the federal one done, because I think it's due soon. So, when I looked at that state grant, there's a lot of requirements, even to pass the 1% or 0.1% increase, you have to go through multiple steps and get certification from the JATC that you meet all these requirements. So we're gonna go for that federal one, and we'll kind of see where we're at there,
Okay.
and then we'll keep that eye on the state one. It sounds like the state grant is still going through some processes, how it's gonna be administered and
Yeah,
all
I
that kind of thing.
wondered if
So,
they were gonna be able to make it
yeah, exactly.
ready by the end of July of this year with all of the
I mean,
requirements.
it's effective, but they're still gonna have to
Yeah,
get all,
yeah.
so we have some time on the state grant one. We're not gonna miss it, but we're focusing on the federal grant right now and see what we can get there. But it's,
Are these grants exclusive, or we can have both, they don't mind?
I'm guessing we could have both, but that's another question. It will come up, I guess, when we,
I suppose.
yeah, we'll have to.
They can only say no.
Yeah, they're both for
Apply
3
for
years,
them.
so, yeah. So I'll keep you informed as we move along with that and let you know where we're at with all those, with those grants, but hopefully keep our fingers crossed that we get some help there. Finance Committee, we met today. Do you guys want to speak on anything we talked about?
Elaine does.
Elaine's got notes, I know. She's our note taker.
Tenino had their meeting today for the finance committee, that we were meeting once a month now. And we've already received 57% of our
Right.
revenue. And there was a large payment, as you noticed on the vouchers for this month. but our bank account is okay. The payment on the loan for the ag park can be delayed,
And Nancy's gonna talk
but
about that.
if we delay it, it still has to be paid off in the deadline date, and that would make the future payments larger if we do that. So it's something to think about if we're really hurting for money.
We're gonna talk about that more later on in the meeting. so.
And the other thing that we're gonna be reviewing all the contracts that we have to see if there's better,
That's the most important thing we discussed, I think, today.
see
Seriously.
if there's better, fees than what we're currently paying on some of the contracts.
Better options for us.
Yeah. Okay, and that's it.
Okay. Planning Commission, he may be here later. Public Safety Committee, do you guys meet at all?
No.
Public Works? Yep.
Public Works, we met this morning, Elaine and I, with the director there, Troy. The road work we've been talking about, the Overland Old 99, as we have the contract we are looking at it, renewing here. The pre-construction meeting is happening this Thursday, so it is coming. And I don't, at that time, they'll decide a date. End of school is pretty close now, just a few days. So I expect that project will get going pretty quick here.
And that's why we need to get this contract done, because we can't move forward until that's submitted, so.
Troy would really like to have our reclaimed water come to the park and water the park and the school district. Currently, the reclaimed water from the waste treatment plant gets put into the ground right there. Trouble with that is that that's downhill from the city, and so that just goes and flows out to the Chehalis River. If we're able to pump that water uphill or to the city, then it comes down through the city's aquifer and is available to be reused through our city's water system, through our pumps. And hopefully that would give us credits for, for water rights with the Department of Ecology.
Did he have a solution for that?
We're looking at it. He's checking with Jessica about options and grants to do that. I know Chanel Holbrook, who is involved with Scatter Creek Health, the organization for that, has information about Purple Pipe as well. And it seems, if we can get a grant, it's kind of a no-brainer. Using that to water our large park and the school district's large fields would save quite a bit
That'd
on
be great.
our water use.
I know it's been talked about for several years,
Yeah,
we just didn't know
it's been
how
on
we
there
were
for-
gonna, how we're gonna be able to afford that purple pipe they call.
We still don't know, but Troy is actively looking
Good.
into it at this point.
Jessica, as you mean.
Yeah, Jessica. The pool repairs, we spoke last time about a little warranty tile work. That's been done. They've been working on cleaning the pool. Grand opening is on the 21st, Saturday the 21st of this month.
Mm-hmm.
So we're on track. We have the lifeguard crew set and ready, and everybody get their swimming suits ready, because it's almost here.
If you're crazy.
Yeah.
Pardon me. And last thing we talked about, Troy is talking to some promoters for youth baseball, softball competitions. The idea is to be able to lease our 3 city ballparks to at least the little leaguers. They're small, they're big enough for that, and be able to get revenue on the fields and bring in families to be in our town and all the rest of that. With that, I went to the school district and left a message there for their director of operations about the possibility of including the 3 high school fields in with that, in the hope that that would make it a more attractive venue if we could offer 6 fields instead of 3, and of course it would benefit the school district by being able to charge rent on those as well. So at this point it's just ideas, but Troy is actively talking to the baseball folks about that. So with the new work we're doing on the one baseball field, we're going to have one really nice one, and hopefully something will come of that. And that's about what we talked about there at the Public Works meeting. All good news.
I will add with the reclaimed water, when I talked to Troy, he had just a thought for a temporary. He talked about having some kind of facility over there that they could bring water to the park just to, until we find a grant, can do all this work.
They did that for a while.
Yeah, so he has been putting some thought into how we can at least temporarily use some of that water to give some relief for watering our fields. So we may come back and say, hey,
Hauling it by tanker truck, I think is what he.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that may come up later, but right now he's just putting some thought into it. Chief of Police, I don't have a report, but I did talk to him this morning. They were all working on that grant and working with our grant person that we hired for the police department.
Justine.
So they're working, Justine, so that was kind of their focus right now. Public Works, we kind of got a report there. Code enforcement, I haven't heard anything from them. Park specialist, I think the biggest thing there is what we just talked about with the convening. Again, it was a great success and
the Stone Festival coming up this Saturday. That's
another big one, yeah.
It's a big one.
The arts,
Arts, yeah.
Correct.
Tenino Arts,
But it's,
Arts, Stone City Art Festival.
there we go. That is
That's a
an arts-
mouthful.
Wants to learn that.
Say that 3 times quickly.
but the point to make with it, I think, is that it's highlighting our Carvers Guild. It's going to collect stone carvers from the entire Northwest. They'll have like some 30 artisans and
Yeah.
artists and whatnot. It should be pretty spectacular. And hopefully, there'll be something coming out with this convocation that will maybe get things going in that old quarry before too much longer. And that would put us back on the map, I think. as
No,
a
that's
center.
that's privately owned.
The gentleman's gonna be there, and I
Good.
hope to meet him. I've asked for a meeting.
Nancy, you ready?
She is, the poor thing is
She
falling
can't stay
asleep
asleep.
sitting over
She's been sitting in that 85-degree office all day long. Our air conditioning isn't working downstairs.
Your
And now
face
I'm
is
cooled
flush.
off and ready to have a nap. So I started working on the bank reconciliations for 2025 this morning. It's gonna take a while. There's some transactions that need fixed before I can close months, but we are started working on those. What else did we, you had to wait for the curb until the regular meeting, right?
Yeah, we got some stuff on there for the regular meeting too.
Still working on the IRS. We've got a couple more letters from them, that now instead of several thousand for a period in 21 or 22, we owe 15 cents, $160, that sort of thing, or we've overpaid by 13 cents or 26 cents. So we're getting there. It's taken a while. I just sent off some reports that they again had said weren't filed, that Ronna had faxed them. They did not get anything that you faxed them. None of that was credited to our account. So I sent those reports off again because that accrues penalties too, not just the failure to pay.
Do we
Or-
get any kind of a receipt for those faxes that you could send to them and say, yes, it was sent?
No, but we are now, anything that goes to the IRS is
Certified.
certified mail.
Good.
So that's a new thing we instituted because we're getting tired of mailing the same
Well,
things
yeah,
over and
it's
over
costing
again.
penalties and things.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
What else did we talk about today? No,
Yeah,
It was
That was the big
mostly
one.
the,
I don't
yeah.
think a lot, yeah, just the
it's just a continuation of trying to get things
Yeah.
cleaned up that we find.
the
and,
big things first,
yeah.
so, yeah.
I think the IRS one is pretty impressive because we had some substantial penalties. That, like the one was originally $8,000 and we got it down to 136. So big kudos to all this.
Yeah, that was
Big
all
kudos to
Ronna.
all the staff that worked on that because,
Yeah.
and like you said, we got a little bit more work to do, but it's
Yeah.
going in the right direction for us once we get everything figured out. So
Well, they don't, when you send in the payment, they don't necessarily apply it to the correct quarter. So if the last one for first quarter, they apply it to second quarter instead,
then you're missing $10,000 from the
So,
first
so how can they
quarter.
do that if you send it
Because
with
they're-
the
Because it's
report?
IRS. It's this different
Sorry.
You're
now,
not very logical.
because we send the payments
Stay
in.
nice and
Now,
clean.
we're doing a little bit different now, because we send the payments in by pay period now, right?
And,
So the payment
and
and
the
the quarterly
payment
report are
goes,
two different,
yeah.
they don't all go in at the same time.
Oh, no, that's not good.
Yeah, but that's what's required by the IRS.
Naturally.
Yeah, yeah, it is.
So when they screw up, they
Then
can.
blame us, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. So, there we have it. That's what the big things that we're working on right now. And then getting some grants tidied up. We have several grants that are, the period for them is ending on June 30, so we're doing some work on those.
Did you see the email? Did they send you the email today? I
Yeah,
don't know if
that
that
was-
helped at all, but,
It was really long. I have to read it again
yeah.
and again a couple times because it's very convoluted. So, yeah, there's a couple I'm not sure that we're going to be able to fully expend the funds that we were awarded, but we're going to do our best.
Maybe you could explain why.
Well, it's not us. I have not received any invoices
Right.
from SCJ except for about $12,000 to, what's that called, PUG grant? HUG grant for the comp plan?
The comp plan update grant.
Yeah. We were awarded 50,000, well, 100, but 50,000 was last year. So 50,000 this year, but they have not finished the plan. They have not billed us for it. So if they don't bill us by the 30th, then
We can't
I
collect
can't
it.
bill the grant. I can't.
The work has to be
And we can't get
completed.
an extension. I already asked on that one.
But you said that we would be able to,
We can invoice for it as long as they get the work done by June 30th. The work has to
The
be done
work
by.
or service has to be done by June 30. I can bill up, well, I have to read the agreement, but usually it's the 10th or the 15th this time of year of July. I can bill, but they have to bill us and they have to do the work by the 30th of June.
Yeah, I've already talked to him about it.
He's-
We've already got a
yeah.
response back on.
He's emailed them a couple times and we did get an email back, but that's
Today.
when it's very long and very.
oh, that's the
um,
email you're talking about.
So, yeah, we have to go through it piece by piece and see what we can, and they said they'll get us stuff by the end of the week, but the one
Getting close.
grant needs to be expended by the 15th rather than the 30th of June, so,
So that's next Monday. No,
yeah,
Yes.
15th is Sunday,
yeah,
Father's Day. Yeah.
which means I can probably bill it on Monday.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Yep.
so
This-
we've got a couple of those, most of them are smaller, but that one's pretty
Pretty
good
good size.
size, so.
Okay.
And it's something we have to get done because we have to do that
Yeah.
comp plan update. It's not like we can say we're not going to do it.
Right, so if we can't use the grant money for the comp plan, we have to pay for it to be finished.
Well, that's why it's really important
Yeah.
Yes.
to find out why they have not billed us for it.
Yes,
We talked about that in the finance committee today too. That was something else.
yes, so, yeah, it's important to look at some of our contracts and see if we're getting value from it.
Yeah.
With some of our contractors, so I think that's
That's
about
kind of-
it today.
But I just want to assure you, what we're doing with our grants coming forward is trying to be very meticulous about making sure we document when payments or when reports are due, who we report to.
Yeah,
So we
that's
don't get
really
in this spot again, because that's been one of the problems, is just having good record
So there was no
keeping.
timeline.
So we'll know now when, we won't hopefully be in this position, but.
Yeah,
and-
that's-
And Jessica, again, has been helping us a lot on that one, extreme.
She's
done
done a lot, but she's one person,
Yeah.
too, so
Yeah.
So.
you've
we're-
been understaffed,
Yeah,
so.
So we're trying to clean it up, we're trying to get cleaned up future. We can go
Yes.
back and fix the past as best we can, but in the future,
Yeah.
we're really gonna be working on making sure we have clear
Yes.
knowledge of where we're going.
Okay. Any questions
Nope. Thank you, Nancy.
today?
I do not have a lot. It's kind of been dealing with the same thing, sending emails, trying to get some of these things cleaned up. So that's when I've been spending most of my days, is working on the same kind of stuff and trying to communicate with the people that we need to, whether it's the, Commerce or
Yeah.
SCJ or anything like that. I've been trying to be here pretty much all day, every day, to kind of give guidance. So haven't done a lot of outside stuff besides the tour, so not a lot to report beyond just the stuff we've been doing to try to get us back on track. And
Okay.
Let me ask you something, Mayor. Let me ask, last year, you volunteered to give up your salary as mayor to help with the budget. Is that,
I didn't do that.
Thank
We
you.
ended up not doing it.
No,
Yeah.
you're-
Now I had to give it up to the IRS because I had such a big bill. I have to take all my mayor's pay and give it to the IRS. So I maybe should have given it up because I wouldn't have lost anything, but
okay, well,
Yeah,
well,
they don't
good.
want it anyway.
yeah.
It doesn't matter.
So I had to pay an extra $1,000 a month to pay my taxes. It's like insane. So anyway, I lost it one way or another, but
Well, you've been doing a
You're paying
heck of
my
a job
taxes.
as mayor, and I'm glad you're getting some compensation.
Well, I just don't think that it's a wise thing for any city official to do, give up their wage,
yeah.
period.
Going back to grants, since we just got a couple minutes, I'll just finish up with this. I mean, this is kind of, I think in my way of thinking anyway, is why we really got to carefully think about how many grants we get, and because it's a little bit overwhelming when you start trying to have to manage these things. It's hard enough to get the grant, but the management of them is such a huge thing. And when we have so many things going on and limited staff, we really need to think what kind of workload those all put on us, because it's significant. It really is pretty significant, I would say, the work we have to do to manage these. And if we don't manage them right, Nancy, you can tell me if this is wrong again. I think because like our federal grants, we reached a cap. We're going to probably have a audit on our federal grants. That's something new.
That's not a cap cumulatively. If you have a.
Can you do this?
federal
Can you?
grant- Sorry.
This is another one we're going to be facing, so I just wanted to make you aware.
If you have a federal grant that's over a certain amount, you are required to have a single audit, and what that is the SAO, who you guys all know about, state auditors, come in and they go over that particular grant with a fine-tooth comb.
So we're going to have
I
another audit.
would be that close to betting my paycheck that they will pick the Egg Park grants to go over.
And then
for
they'll
a
charge
single
us for it.
Yeah.
Yes, they will charge us, and we may or may not get a finding if the grant is in good shape as far as documentation, allowability, that sort of thing,
Now,
so,
when has the state never charged?
right? So, yeah, I have to call them and make an appointment for that.
So just be aware, we're going to have another audit
Yes.
start here very soon
So for 2024, any grants that we had in 2024
that were federal.
that were federal, that are over, I'm sorry, I can't remember the dollar amount off the top of my head right now.
Normally 750.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. We're gonna have to be audited on, so.
That's in addition to our just
Okay.
normal city audit too, right? That's in addition
Oh,
to.
yeah,
That's,
yeah.
that's above and beyond.
Yeah.
Yeah,
More money to change.
they've already started asking for
2025.
2025 and 2024 documentation, so, for regular grant.
Okay.
Okay, that takes us right up to, got just a few
1
seconds
minute.
till, that was good timing.
All right.
Get out of here, Rhonda. Okay, enjoy your rest of your day. Yeah, thanks for coming in, I appreciate it.
Hey, Rhonda, oh. Are you available on 30?
Okay, it is 7:30. We'll call to order the regular meeting of Tenino City Council for June 10th, 2025. Jason, you want to start us? Thank you. Agenda approval, we have two things to add. Can,
So moved. Oh, I would like to make an amendment to the, agenda.
It's additions, not amendments yet. It's additions.
Pardon?
It's additions.
You want to
You're
make
asking to add.
additions?
Yes,
Because we have-
addition to the council meeting. One is the JD cost estimates, and the other one is the interlocal agreement between the district courts and the city of Tenino.
So I'm going to put both those under new business.
No problem.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the agenda with the update of cost estimates for the paving project and the interlocal agreement with Thurston County for court services. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Approval of minutes. They have minutes from 5/27/2025.
Move approval.
Second. Third.
It's moved, seconded, and third to approve the minutes from 5/27/2025 as presented. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing, motion passes. Consent calendar. The consent calendar for June 10th, 2025, consisting of payroll EFTs in the amount of $62,222.17. Claims checks 33335 through 33377 in the amount of $198,008.15 for a total of $260,230.32. And I don't believe there's any cannabis or liquor license.
No problem.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? I will add on this one, there are significant payments we paid, the Vector truck payment, and so this is bigger than we usually see, but almost, I think it's almost 100,000, right around 100,000 of that was for the Vector truck and the street sweeper payment that was
It
due,
was
so.
like 77,000.
30,000, so,
77.
We refunded those B&O.
oh yeah, we refunded the B&O taxes for the store that we've been sitting on for a while too, for 20,000. So it's a little higher than we normally see, but that's why. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Presentations, Deb's not here. We can wait. If she shows up, it's pretty close to 7:30, so we'll come back to her if she gets here or when she gets here. Public comments. Come on up. We love public comments.
Me.
Make sure you get that mic right up there close to you.
And
Ron will
identify
be calling
yourself,
us.
please.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
You need your name and full social security number.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Cheryl Pierce. I'm the president for Tenino Area Chamber of Commerce. And we're super happy to be here this evening. And we always appreciate the partnership we have with the city and Public Works. This in particular is on the beautification project for Tenino. And I'm here tonight to present a check to the city of Tenino for $1,632.52. And that covers half of the cost of the hanging baskets that are in the corridor. And so I'm happy to present that tonight, and we appreciate you guys' partnership.
Thank you.
We appreciate you too very much for your help. We could do this.
He wants a picture.
A picture? Oh, here, big check. Big check.
Good.
Okay.
Good.
Does anybody remember off the top of their head the amount of, when we get a donation, the council has to approve it? We'll have to go back and check. You know, there's a certain amount. Oh, how much?
I think this is fine.
I think this one's good, yeah. Put this here. So. Any other public comment?
Thank you, Cheryl.
Bye.
Thanks, Cheryl. No public hearing, no proclamations. Old business. I guess old business was, we don't really need to do this old business because we gotta wait and approve this initial one before we can approve the expansion. Yeah, so I'm gonna skip that one unless somebody has any. You're up again, Nancy. You wanna-
Don't we have to move to table that? Isn't that right, John? Do we have to move?
Should we
to
table that, John?
Not table it, because if we table it, that means we can't bring it, whoever tables it has to bring it back.
Okay,
What we can do is move it. So instead of doing old business, we do new business and then old business. So we just ask for that, and you have to get a council approval to do that. Is that what you're looking to have done, Mr. Mayor?
I think we just want to move it to a later, when we actually get the
To another
actual
meeting?
numbers. Yeah,
Right.
so,
Okay, then yeah, you have to table it and put a date on
okay.
it.
So you want to move to table this?
I
one?
move to table the recommendation, award letter for old Highway 99 overlay project expansion.
Second.
Sorry.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion?
My understanding with Troy was this is something that needed to happen fairly quick so they could do the
Do the,
pre-con meeting.
okay.
Is that something we can check
It's-
on before we actually kick it off the agenda for tonight?
I don't know how we'll check on it tonight, though.
Well, push
We
come.
can put it on to the next meeting, or if we have to, if there's something that's that critical, we'll just have a 5-minute, but I don't,
I was just about to say, if push come to shove, we can always have a special meeting.
take
you know,
5 minutes
with
just to
20
come in
yeah,
at one thing.
With a 24-hour notice, that kind of deal.
Well, yeah,
I just
okay.
don't know how we put a contract together until we get this other thing done and then officially update it. So I'll work with Troy. I'll check with him
So
with
we
him
don't
tomorrow.
have
and
the
make-
award letters, so we can't do it, right?
I don't think, I haven't seen a letter that actually modifies the.
No, I haven't.
So I'll work with Troy tomorrow and we'll make sure we get it done one way or another.
Please, I think
Yeah.
time is
I
of the
know.
essence in this one.
Yeah, it's kind of
Yeah.
weird because I know they're working
He
on
did
starting the
say that.
project, but then we get this letter today saying we need to get this approved before we can do any updates. So it's one of those ones, I think, that we kind of got stuck between a couple processes but I promise you, I'll work with Troy tomorrow to make sure we get it taken care of.
All right, thank you.
So we'll table, it's moved and seconded to table this until,
The
Till
next
further notice-
meeting,
next
at
meeting
least
or-
the next meeting.
yeah,
A special meeting can be called in between.
yeah. Is there any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Okay, Nancy has a request about the curb 2-year deferral.
This is the $1.25 million loan that is attached to the curb grant for the Egg Park. We can get a 2-year deferral, and it's pretty much a given as long as we get a letter in by the 12th. And what is that, Thursday or?
I think
Yeah.
it's-
The 12th is Thursday.
Next couple of days.
The thing is that it reduces the loan though from 20 years to 18 years and raises the payment because they cannot extend it past the original end date
Right.
of the loan. So, and I am sorry, I did not write down the loan amounts. I do have a new amortization schedule, but I spent the afternoon with our Chad, our administrator for Springbrook, so I
About how
don't.
much more is it gonna cost each month?
I'm sorry?
About how much more will it cost each month?
I think it's several thousand. But the reason we looked at this also is because next year we pay the last payment on, I don't remember.
One of the
which
sewer
loan it is.
loans?
Yeah,
Yeah.
one of the sewer loans to the tune of like 400,000 a year. So the last payment for that will be made in 26.
Will we be able to fast track that loan, make larger payments to get it down quicker?
If we're able to.
Or
You know,
to
I-
refinance it later on?
Yeah, I did not ask her, but I assume that you would be able to. It's, you know, they're attached to Department of Commerce, so I can shoot her a quick email tomorrow.
I'm pretty sure, just looking through it, that we could pay it off today if we wanted to. If we
Yeah.
had the money, we could pay it off without any penalties. So
Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah, so if we have some more money, I think, go ahead and finish up and then if I have anything.
No, I was done. That's pretty much all
I think
had
part
to
of
say.
this is just our cash flow right now.
Yes.
Is the reason we're not, because paying off the sewer loan doesn't give us, I mean, we can't use the sewer money to pay this, but we have, until we start getting our accounts built back
The
up,
bank account.
our bank accounts.
The
it's just- It's
checking.
just a matter of being able to not make that $70,000 payment
Yeah.
for a couple of years and give us a little breathing room, both to,
Move approval.
can I
Second.
finish one other thing?
Sure.
The other thing is that, now you got me on.
I didn't do anything.
My
Yeah, she
mind,
forgot.
I gotta focus, Linda, I forget it.
Jason was poking me to say
It's
approval.
John's fault.
It's like, get
John
this
did
over
It was
with.
John's fault. There was another thing that I thought of that kind of related that, it gives us some time to build up, we get the rent from those buildings, but we've only got one payment so far, so we're basically taking money Now, with 2 years, we'll have 2 years of rent from that facility to be able to help pay that. So there's really two things to me that this does, is helps us with just our cash flow for the next couple of years, and lets us build up the fund from the revenue we get from that park to actually start making the payments.
Good.
Does that make sense?
It does.
Yep.
Okay, so we need a motion.
Scary, it does.
Yeah. There's a motion and a second, right? To approve the request for the curb 2-year deferral on our loan payment. Is there any other discussion?
Yes. The cost to the city is going to be additional interest on the principal we're not paying down over the next 2 years?
Yeah, there will be interest accrued,
Yeah,
I'm
I
thinking.
mean, there'll be a little bit of interest,
The interest rate's pretty low. It's like,
but it's like 2.75 or
I don't
something.
even think it's that. I think it's like 2, yeah, even.
Maybe it's 2.25, I can't remember.
Yeah,
It's under
pretty-
3.
Yeah, it's under 3.
Yeah.
And you
So-
mentioned several $1,000s a month, but it's an annual payment, correct?
It's an annual payment. We make one
Yeah,
annual
that
payment.
one's annual. Well, it's actually 2 loans that add up to, and I don't know why, and Janae apologized for that, but because their funding sources, it's 2 loans.
The combined cost is the $67,000 to pay.
Yes.
Because they're different funds, they had to make it 2 separate loans.
Right, so, I'm sorry, what was the question again? You wanted to know what?
How
Well,
much?
You said it came to several $1,000s a month, but it's actually an
Yes.
annual payment, not a monthly payment. That-
It's sorry, you're right, I said per month, but it's a yearly payment, not,
It's several thousand yearly.
yeah,
Mhm.
yes, several thousand yearly, not monthly, sorry.
So my opinion on this, and thank you for letting me bring up that 5-year plan again. You know, when we paid off the debt to our restricted loans, we paid back the money that was illegally spent in the last administration. And right now, we're doing it aggressively, which is like $600,000 a year. After that 3 years, you know, then we have that $600,000 for additional debt, for additional projects, for grant matching. You know, we're back to being a city that can make choices. So I think it's a good idea to push this off. A little bit of interest to give us that breathing room is a great opportunity, and we'll be easily able to make it up on down the road.
Yeah, I think so, and as the mayor said, it affects our cash flow. You know, we can't, obviously, you found out, can't spend from one fund that's
To
got
another.
more money to pay off bills for another fund. But we do have to keep an eye on the cash flow too, so, you know, we have enough money to
Pay the
actually
bills.
pay the bills in the bank, so, yeah.
Okay, any other discussion on that? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Cost estimate. We have talked about in our work session, the cost estimate update for the paving project on Old 99. Is there any other questions that I can answer about this?
You're looking for an approval?
Yep.
Make it so.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve me signing the updated cost estimates for the Tenino paving project. Is there any discussion?
Could we, Mayor, have a brief summary for those who are not here for the,
Yep. This is for the paving project. Our initial cost estimate was $506,000 for that. The bid came in at $323,000, so that's significantly less than what we thought the cost was going to be. So the plan is we have to approve the initial bid, which was $357,000, I believe, is the total bid. So we have to approve this initial bid, and then the next step will be to take the leftover money, which amounts to about $182,000, and modify the initial bid to include more paving. So once this is approved and it goes, we'll get with and modify the original bid to include the extra paving for that. Is that good enough, or does that give clear enough?
I hope so. Thank you very much.
Okay. Okay, hearing no other discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion passes. The next one that we talked about in our work session also is the interlocal agreement for court services for with the Thurston County for Tenino court services. The estimated costs for 2025 for court services alone. This does not include prosecution, jury trials. This is just for the actual court services, estimated to be $24,731. So we just rounded it to $25,000 for a year. We'd like to start in July 1st, but I'm thinking we're not going to be able to get July 1st. We may have to modify this in the end. It would actually starts in August, but I'm going to push for trying to get this thing moving as soon as possible, so we can just get this off our.
Move approval.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the interlocal agreement for Thurston County to provide court services. Is there any other discussion?
I'd like to just make the point from our earlier work session that this actually will save the city a fair amount of money
I think it will.
by pushing that out to the county.
I believe well over $100,000 a year.
And I think I'll just provide some stability. I mean, the courts, they're doing, they're not, the county court doing, everybody in the county is not gonna be with the same struggles. They'll have struggles, but not like a little town like ours would have with maintaining a judge.
City. Sorry.
Yeah, city. Okay, did we vote on it, or did I just get it?
We voted on it.
We voted on it, okay. So that was approved. Don't see the library here. Planning Commission, nobody's here. Code enforcement.
We've got to call for a vote.
Liaisons, I think is the last thing.
You had-
Be that, it's got any?
Nothing.
Excuse me,
That's it.
you asked for comments and
Oh,
whatnot.
yeah,
but
you didn't call
ask
for the question.
Oh, sorry, okay. So we had comments, but we didn't actual call for the question.
Right.
All in favor of approving the interlocal agreement?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Sorry, I see I got sidetracked again. Yeah.
Not my fault.
I'm keeping you on track.
That's why we have 5 people, but one of us will get it right.
John told me we did, so I just went on with it.
Swore we did.
Okay, liaisons real quick, and then we can be finished. Be that.
No.
Nothing. Solid Waste Advisory Board.
Solid waste, at that meeting, they went over, the legislation that had passed. There were 5 bills, but the most, important one that they felt like was there was a big change to recycling.
I saw that.
Huge, yeah. And there was an increase in penalties for, litter.
Mhm. Oh, I remember that. Yeah.
But the one that they were disappointed was the bottle, beverage bottle can deposit. It failed again, they said, for 5 years in a row.
Mhm.
Hazardous waste plan has now been submitted to the Department of Ecology, and as soon as they go over it, it will then be submitted to the cities for approval. So it's coming to you to, capital projects, the compactor replacement will be done in October. The security for the work center, they did tech site improvements, fire alarm updates, and those will be completed by July. There will be no EV charging station at the work site. Even though they wanted it, it won't be because of the cost. A second transfer station that they were discussing for either Rochester or Rainier, that one has been put on hold until 2027 due to cash flow. The composting giveaway that they had, it was gone in 1 hour, even though they had programmed it for 3. Next year, they hope to be able to have more because it was so popular for people more people are doing gardens. And then they had the Bring Your Own Cup program that the Department of Ecology had done with the solid waste. And that's where you can take your own cup to a coffee stand when you get coffee. So the Department of Ecology has on their website, which ones will let you use your own cup. And that's it.
Thank you. Nothing from TCOM, school board? Tonight's
Graduation is Friday at 6 at the stadium.
Yes, it is.
Big day for a lot of kids.
No, not my last great grandkid from Tenino. Got one more in 3 years, so.
Anything else? TRPC and TPB?
TPB's tomorrow morning, TRPC, the bulk of our discussion was, should we bring up Allison Ulsterberg to be the acting executive director for TRPC? She didn't want it a long time ago, a lot of people forgot that. She said she would be the acting director now. The second part of the conversation is, how do we go about paying her for the work that she's going to be doing? And Robin Vasquez is the chair. That just happens, we happen to be extremely lucky because that's the kind of work that she does, is figuring out the different pay scales and that kind of stuff. So that'll work out real well, but we took a long time on that one. The rest of it was just basic information that affects North County.
Great.
Oh, and Senator Bateman was there giving us the closing remarks on the session.
Okay, public comment too. Anybody got any last comments? Announcements? I'll start things out. We're Representative Strickland. She's not a member of she's not in our district. She's not our representative, but she's going to be coming out to the Ag Park to talk about the meat processing facility. This is her regional
What are
thing.
you doing?
She is going to be a champion for us to help get some money for that. So she will be here. We're going
She's 10th congressional district.
So I'll be out there with her, trying to let her understand what we're doing out there. So that'll be another great partner we'll have, I think, to help us move
Well,
that
should
forward.
help if we have her and Maria
Maria Glusenkamp is here.
Perez. All that.
So that's coming up here soon. I'll let you know how it goes afterwards. Any other announcements? Hearing none, we are adjourned.
Non-debatable motion.
I love it.
Thank you all, appreciate it.
And Nancy says, thank you.